Hi, so this week is conference week. We're not going to be doing our regular Zoom meetings this week because we're going to do conferences instead. So I want to walk you through the module and just kind of let you know how we're going to do it and what's going on. Okay, so you can see we don't have too many assignments for this week because the big thing that we're working on is that section 1 introduction to the research paper. So that's what you should be spending the majority of your time on this week. Okay, so first thing, just double check to when your conference is, and I have this thing set for reminder for Sunday, so just in case anyone is signed up to meet with me on Monday or maybe Tuesday morning, you can see that and just remember when it is. And then you can either use this link to go to the conference, or you can use go through the Zoom link on the homepage. Okay, so for this assignment, I am going to guess that most of you will need to locate more information. And you'll probably be able to determine that once you finish your outline. It may be that you haven't determined it until after we meet. So if that's the case and you just really don't know what else you need or if you need to add anything, then hold off on this. I did make it due on Tuesday, but if you want to turn it in on Thursday after we meet for your conference, that's perfectly fine. I'd rather you think about it and have something and turn it in a couple days late. So just keep that in mind. So what you're going to be doing is you're just going to be telling me, you know, what you need, what you think you need, where you're going to find it. And then I will encourage you to do a webinar if you haven't done one, or another webinar. And if you haven't done a wrap session and you're really struggling to find articles, then I'll encourage you to do that as well. So these are not required, but if you need them, you can. The other option is going to be to use a website. So I'm not going to have a specific assignment on this, but if you are going to use a website, make sure that you take a look at this web page. It just goes through Google, how to use Google. Now remember, the librarian that does the webinars, she has actually let's go back there. And she has some webinars about Google. So at this point, especially if you've already done a webinar or you've already done a wrap session, this would be a really valuable thing to do if it's possible, if you can get in at one of these times. Then there's one more thing to read, and this is actually an important grammar point, and I'm giving this to you here because I did notice that a few of you had this problem in your essay number 2. And so this is something called parallel structure, and it's kind of a simple concept, but sometimes if you're not aware of it, you might make this mistake. So the idea is that when you have a list of things, and a list is usually going to be 2 or 3 things, and you're saying, you know, this and this, or this and this, that all of those things, those 2 or 3 things, need to have the same grammatical structure. So they all need to be nouns, or they all need to be noun phrases, or they all need to be verbs, or they all need to be gerunds, or whatever the thing is, they all need to follow the same form. So I have some examples here. If it's something that you're not familiar with, lots of examples, and it's just something that I want you to keep in mind as you're writing. When you come across a sentence that is kind of complex, because that's usually where you get in trouble. Usually you're not going to have problems if you have like a real simple, easy list where you're just, you know, giving a list of 2 or 3 things that are, you know, simple nouns or something like that. The problem comes in when you have more complex sentences, more complicated sentences, and you're dealing with clauses or long phrases. So it's just something to be aware of. Okay, and then I do have a assignment here that shows you 2 different section 1s. So these were written by students in my class in the spring semester. And it is just the section 1. Here's one here. And then there's an example B, and it is here. And so they both are good. They both received high points, either a B plus or an A grade. So they're both really good examples of introductions, but they are written differently. And I just wanted to give you some options and let you see the way that they could be laid out. So what you're going to do here is just answer these questions. So answer the questions about example A, answer the questions about example B, and then just give me your analysis or your opinion. Okay, and then the very last thing, and it's not going to show up on mine because I'm not a real student, but the very last thing is turning in that section 1 of your research paper. So please try not to be late on this, or try not to be too late. You do probably want to meet with me first before you turn this in. Doesn't mean that you can't start working on it, but it would be a good idea for us to talk first. So during your conference, we're going to look at your outline or your overall plan, and then that should be something that you use to then write your section 1, section 2, and section 3, kind of like a guide or like a map of how to do it. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the week. Please let me know if you have any questions, any problems with anything, and I look forward to talking to each one of you during our conference. All right, have a great week, and I will talk to you soon.